Hey GENNOW, what's up? It's Ryan here. I want to talk to you guys today about family. We started our series last week in family, talking about the way that our faith can make a difference in our family is by the way we treat our family with love. And so today we're going to continue on talking about family. Now, I get it. Families are imperfect. There's not a single one of us out there that have like one of those TV families who have no issues or no problems or anything. See, our families are often marked by brokenness, by divorce, by tension in the home, by arguments, by financial struggles, by the way we butt heads with our parents or the way that we argue with our siblings. Our homes are more marred by maybe things more serious like addiction or substance abuse or neglect or you name it. Our families don't always look like the picture perfect TV family because we don't even live with our parents, or we live with one of our parents and we don't even talk to the other. I get it. Our families are imperfect. But here's the thing. Sometimes we begin to think that because our families are so imperfect, that one, God can't work in our family, and two, God can't use us because of the family that we come from. But there's a story in the book of Genesis that I want to talk to you guys about. See, in the book of Genesis, God singles out one person. His name is Abraham, and he says, Abraham, I'm going to make you into a huge nation of people, and through this nation, I'm going to show the entire world how much I love them and want a relationship with them. Man, in my mind, as I read this, I'm thinking, okay, if God is choosing one family to do this amazing thing through, then this family is going to have it all together, going to have it figured out. But as I keep reading in Genesis, I realize that that's not the case. So by the time we get to Genesis chapter 27, we get this story about Abraham's grandchildren. Their names were Jacob and Esau. See, Jacob and Esau were twins. Esau was the firstborn. Esau also means red in Hebrew because he came out and he had like a ton of hair on his body. So Esau was this really like hairy, burly hunter guy, and Jacob was the secondborn. He came out actually grabbing Esau's heel when they were born, which is very interesting. What that meant in Hebrew to be a heel grabber was someone who cheated people or was really conniving or sneaky. So you have these two children. Now, here's the interesting thing about Hebrew culture and ancient Middle Eastern culture. See, there was this thing, if you were the firstborn, that you would get the birthright and the blessing. The birthright meant that you would have the rights to all the family's property when your father passed away. And the blessing meant that you would get the wealth and the future prosperity of the family as well. So you have these two siblings who are super close in age. They basically feel both like firstborn, but technically Esau was born first. So he has the birthright and the blessing. Well, as you can imagine, that would cause a lot of probably jealousy and tension in the relationship. And so through a series of events, Jacob connives and cheats Esau out of both the birthright and the blessing. It's a really crazy story, actually a very entertaining story. So I'd encourage you to check it out. It's in Genesis chapter 27. See, the sad thing is that not only does Jacob connive and cheat his brother out of the birthright, but at one point, the mom of the family gets in on it and tricks the father, and it's all a big, broken mess. And as we continue reading on in Genesis, the pattern is the same. That this family is imperfect, that this family is broken, and yet they are the family that God chose to bless the entire world through. See, oftentimes we think God can't work in our family or use us because of the brokenness or the tension or the anger in our families. But that's just not true. God can still work even in the midst of your imperfect family. Now let me clarify two things. I'm going to clarify what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. What I'm not saying, let me start there. What I'm not saying is that if you just trust in God, He's going to make all the issues in your family disappear. That's just not reality. And I wish it was, because I know a lot of us come from really hard situations. But the reality is not everyone's open to God working in their life. Not everyone is open to God redeeming situations in their life. Although I have been a part of and heard about stories where families are able to reconcile things, to work through issues, because they're allowing God to work in their lives and heal their situation. So, I'm not saying that if you just trust God, He's going to make everything in your family better. But what I am saying is this. In Romans 8:28 it says, "For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Here's what this verse is saying. This verse is saying that if we, as followers of Jesus in a relationship with God, are allowing God to work in our life and trusting Him, then that means that God is going to use every situation, good or bad, to make us more like Jesus. And that's the whole goal as a follower of Jesus. So man, sometimes the pain and the hurt that we go through, yes, it is extremely difficult to walk through, but sometimes if we allow God to work in our lives, we begin to realize that He's actually bringing good out of those situations because He's growing us. We're able now to step into similar situations and relate to people and help people. We realize that because of this difficult thing that we've gone through, God is growing character in us that probably wouldn't have grown if we wouldn't have gone through that thing. I know families can be tough, but here are two challenges that I have for you this week. The first one is this. When you can't see it and when you can't feel it, trust that God is working. Trust that God is at work in the situation, especially in you. You probably aren't going to see it right away. It may take some time, and maybe even a few years down the road, till you can look back and see, oh, I see how God has used that in my life to shape me. The second thing is to stay connected to your family. I know how easy it is, man, when you're having tension in your home, when things aren't right with your family, how easy it is just to go up to your room and shut the door and put your walls up, put your headphones in, and maybe get on Netflix or your phone and just to tune out. But my challenge to you is to stay connected, because last week we focused on loving our family. So I encourage you this week, when things are hard, to stay connected to your family and to love your family even when things are difficult. Man, I hope you guys have such a great week, and we hope to see you soon. Peace out.